Hello everybody, Raven Knight here. So today, I want to talk a little bit about For Honor and its future going forward. As we are entering the final stretch of Year 7, and we prepare ourselves for Year 8, I think we're all a little excited and a little nervous. What does the future hold for Honor? Now, I've heard many people offer suggestions, ideas, and advice in this regard, and not too long ago, I saw a video by my good buddy Havoc, who talked about his own concerns with the game going forward. Concerns that I, in fact, share. Now, like him, I still love this game, and we both want it to improve and do better and better. Don't get me wrong, guys. The game is in a great state now, but we know it can improve, we know it can get better, and we know it needs to get better. We don't want to see this game end. It's too unique, too fascinating, too fun of a game to just see it end early. So today, I'm going to offer my thoughts, my suggestions, and my outlook. So let's not waste any time, let's get right into this. Let's ask a serious question, guys. What does For Honor really need right now? I'm not talking about what we want for it. I mean, obviously we want new heroes, new maps, new game modes, stuff like that. I'm not talking about what we want. I'm talking about what this game needs. What is the biggest problem For Honor faces? Well, right now, For Honor has a really strong player base, and the roster balancing, while certainly not perfect, is far better than it has been in a long time. We have a large cast of characters, no shortage of events and cosmetic options for characters, and now that we have crossplay in the game, what more does this game really need? Well, more than anything, it needs an advertisement campaign. The biggest problem For Honor has right now is that it has a large number of players, but that number isn't growing very fast. The game is not advertising itself well at all, and right now there are many people in the gaming community unaware this game is even still active. To this day, I will still get comments saying, "Wait, this game is still alive?" And I don't believe they say this out of malice, they say it out of genuine surprise, and I can't blame them for that. Look, let's be honest, guys, let's be real. For Honor didn't start off on the best foot. Lousy servers, poor balancing, and poor decisions from up top, it pushed a lot of people away from the game early, and they haven't wanted to come back. For Honor, frankly, became a black stain in the world of fighting games. But I don't think it has to stay there. I do believe that For Honor can and should redeem itself. What For Honor really needs to do now, more than anything, is advertise this game. Get attention out there to the wider gaming community. Unfortunately, even if they do that, that's still not the end of the struggle. Because even if new players enter the game, the player retention is suffering. See, the game, at present, is not very friendly to new players, as it requires a large learning curve to enter the community. New players are often crushed by seasoned veterans, and it discourages folks from continuing. Now, I can't say I know the way to fix that. I'm not even sure if there is a way. Asking gamers to have the patience and diligence to continue and work to improve their abilities in a fighting game like this is indeed a very tall order. But that is a hurdle that Ubisoft will have to approach as they move forward with this game. So, how do we go about this? Let's say that we advertise the game well, we need to try to get people invested, we need to get people involved. What are some good ways to do that? I have two recommendations. Either one would most likely help the game, but both are risky. They would require Ubisoft to really go out on a limb, and I understand their hesitation to do this. But I do think these ideas, outside of just a full-on advertisement campaign, would be the best ways to really help this game. So, here they are. Number one, make For Honor free to play. Now, before you panic, before you freak out, before you run to the comments, hear me out. For Honor makes most of its money from in-game purchases. Purchasing heroes, battle passes, cosmetics, executions, steel packs, all that stuff. But those purchases mean little if no one is playing the game because they don't think it's worth the price of admission. It's kind of like why I'm not willing to pay money for a boat. I mean, I could have a lot of fun on a boat, and I live close to the ocean, so it wouldn't be hard to take it out on my days off, but boats are expensive. Very expensive. It's just not worth the amount of money it's going to cost. And it's the same with gaming. Before a gamer buys your product, even if they think they could have fun on it, they have to decide if that fun is worth the price. And based on For Honor's current reputation from its beginning, the reputation it earned on its release, many aren't interested in putting down that investment. Especially when they learn that they won't have access to all the heroes right away. They'd have to buy them separately. So, by making the game free to play, players will be more encouraged to pick up the game and give it a try. They lose nothing by just giving the game a shot, and after finding they enjoy it, They might be willing to put money into heroes and cosmetics for those heroes, maybe even battle passes. And the more players who do this, the more money your game could stand to make. Now, I'm very well aware that this would be a risky move. There's a chance it won't change anything. After all, even if a product is free, if no one knows it exists, no one will know to get it anyway. I mean, take a game like Genshin Impact versus Tower of Fantasy. Genshin Impact is a free-to-play open-world RPG-style gacha game that is 100% free to play, though it makes most of its money through limited-time character roles and cosmetics. But Genshin has a fantastic ad campaign. You can't go anywhere on a mobile app or on YouTube without eventually running into something advertising Genshin Impact. Tower of Fantasy? Well, if you said, what is that, then you proved my point pretty well. Both games are free. Both have a similar gacha game kind of setup, but one has done a far better job of catching the eye of the gaming community and world. Now, of course, there are other factors involved in the success of Genshin Impact, but my point remains. Making For Honor free to play and pushing a hard ad campaign would undoubtedly get the world to know it's still alive and worth taking another look at. They don't have the fear of the big paywall between them and the game. The only thing they have to consider is, do they want to sink money into getting other characters, other cosmetics, and stuff like that? And trust me, if they get invested in the game, they're going to want to drop money on these characters. You want the world to acknowledge you, For Honor? Step out the door and let them know you exist. My second idea, the second suggestion. Make a For Honor 2. Now, let me be dispassionately realistic for a moment. And for those who don't know what that means, it means I'm going to be brutally practical. Or just honest and blunt. I honestly don't foresee For Honor 2 ever being a thing. There are a few reasons why, but the main one being that crossplay came to the original game. If they were planning a sequel, it would have been wiser to wait for that sequel and make that cross-platform. Right now, For Honor still has a negative reputation and a dedicated but stagnant player base. If the game were growing healthily and the developers thought they could do more with the game itself, then I could foresee a sequel in the future. But right now, what would they do with a sequel? See, to make a sequel implies they'll have something brand new to add that couldn't be done with the base game. There's only one thing a sequel could do that the base game can't get right now, and it's this: attention. Sequels always get media and critical attention. It's a signal that the company producing the sequel is sinking money, resources, and energy into a follow-up game. This always gets the attention of the larger media. It would be a great way to announce For Honor's rise out of the muck of indifference and back into the limelight as the unique fighting game that we know it is. But media attention is a double-edged sword. Gamers will expect something new, something worth coming to. Take Overwatch as an example. Overwatch 2 is just basically Overwatch with some new characters. The promises that the company made for Overwatch 2 fell through, and now Overwatch 2 is being blasted for the obvious money grab and scam that it was. A cheap attempt to get clout and to make money off of the naive player base. And For Honor cannot afford to go that route. For Honor's number one priority has to be regaining the respect and attention of the wider public, and it has to be for the right reasons. Not all publicity is good publicity, and bad publicity will only sink this game to the bottom of the sea of irrelevance. I cannot stress enough how important it is that For Honor play its cards as carefully as possible. A sequel might cost more than it's really worth in the end, and that's why I encourage caution on this decision. I have no idea how much a full sequel would cost, but with that said, maybe it would be the right move. For Honor was a big test. There's no question risks were taken with that game. Ideas were attempted and thrown around, and some things worked, others didn't. And now might be the time to really take what we've learned from the first game and put those lessons into a new game with fresh opportunities. Revamp the faction war, give a whole new or extended campaign, a larger world map with brand new maps to fight on, adjust the game modes. There's so much that can be done with a sequel, and perhaps that's its greatest positive. as well as its greatest risks to contend with. But those are my two suggestions, and I fully recognize that I'm not fully aware of the ramifications of either choice. I can offer these suggestions with the limited understanding that I have of them. They're just ones that I've heard some people recommend, and I actually do think that they hold some water, and I'm just presenting my ideas as to why. Now, apart from those two ideas, there are certainly other rumors and suggestions that I've heard in regards to this game. I can't say yay or nay to all of them because I would need to do more research on their viability. But I have heard a rumor that For Honor might get a TV show, and I have been asked to weigh in on that reality. I have my doubts that a TV show about For Honor is being made, but if that is indeed true, I would be very speculatory about its quality. Video game shows, as a rule, tend not to do well, and given that For Honor isn't widely known as it is, I don't know what kind of audience they're hoping to pull in. Not to say it wouldn't get any attention, and in fact it might expose the game to more people. But I'd hate to see For Honor's film and television debut be on par with such things as the Halo TV show. That would be, really unfortunate. If I were to write it, I would insist that the show focus heavily on the campaign. You could go about it in one of three ways. You could follow the warden of the campaign and make it largely about his trials and his struggles as he starts off following Apollyon, discover the danger of her plan. He tries to warn the other factions and rebuild the Iron Legion. Or maybe you could follow Apollyon from her childhood to her eventual death, or faked death if you want to leave it open to a sequel. And the other option is to perhaps make it an anthology series, have various stories told about various characters, have them clash in different episodes. Tell the story of a warden named Ruth, who was originally adopted from a Viking village as a child and trained to be a knight in Ashfeld. Or tell another story about an Orochi named Shiro, who had a penchant for bloodshed. Have him clash with Ruth in an episode later on down the line. I don't know, it's just a thought. Or imagine if it were animated. Could you see like an anime of For Honor? Hell, that'd be sick. Get Studio Madhouse on that, or Wit Studio maybe. I'd kill to see the For Honor cast done in more of an anime style. We could finally get our Warden X Nobu, and to everyone's surprise, Runa would actually say she can speak Japanese. In all honesty, a For Honor TV show could be a neat idea to get the game some attention, and that said, I'd ask that we get outside writers to assist with it. I'm not saying I could do it any better, so I wouldn't necessarily throw my hat into that ring, but if it were me, and I was told we couldn't make a TV show based on the campaign, but we need a For Honor TV show to get people's attention, well, here's what I'd recommend. If we had to make a For Honor TV show, be it animated or live action, whichever, and it can't be based on the campaign, here's what I'd suggest. Focus on Griffin. Tell the story of Holden Cross, traveling around Heathmore and beyond, meeting the factions he once fought against and with. Have him haunted by the crimes he committed under Apollyon. See him become a mercenary. Have him absorb new cultures, costumes, and meet new people. Create new allies and enemies for him to contend with. See him gradually shed his old armor and take up new equipment and a new weapon. Show the scars he's obtained from his arc to redeem himself. Give him someone to fall in love with, maybe Ayu, there's an idea, just a thought, and make him devote himself to something new, only to remind himself what it means to have honor and reverence to something beyond himself. And then when Astria emerges with her Order of Horkos, have him conflicted. Does he take a stand to give in all the pain he once caused? Or does he stay hidden? Let things sort themselves out. Have him visited by visions of his former master, Apollyon. Hear her voice in his ear like the telltale heart scratching at the floorboards of his mind. Was it really for peace that he fought? Or was it war itself? Did he even have a purpose? What is his purpose? Was it all just at the behest of a warlord and a monster that he killed hundreds? Or was it because he fought for something greater? Who is Holden Cross and what does he fight for? Have him bear the weight of his old life and the hope of his new family with Ayu. Maybe even give him a son to raise. Then have him turn his gaze upon Astria again and recognize her for what she is. His final foe, the last remnant of his old life that he must destroy to finally be free. You could make a whole TV series out of the journey of Holden Cross and show the world of For Honor through his eyes as he wanders it, learning from the Vikings, the samurai, the knights, the Wu Lin, and other cultures far beyond. But that's all just an idea. It's just what I would recommend. There are various paths you could go, and if a TV show really is in the future of For Honor, I'd be happy to see where it goes, but I'd approach it with a great deal of caution. Okay guys, let's wrap this up, in conclusion, For Honor is one of a kind. We're never going to get another game quite like it, and that's just the way it is. Ubisoft put years into its development, its creation, and its combat system. Even now, though we may not appreciate it the way we should, they still work to make this game entertaining for us and fun. To say this game is dead or to say the developers just don't care is simply not true. I want this game to continue to be noticed and enjoyed for the marvel that it is. I don't know what year 8 will hold for this game. I don't know the future this game will have. Of course, I want new maps, new heroes, new game modes, and new awesome cosmetics and executions. That goes without saying. But more than that, I want this game to thrive. And it can. But to do that, two things need to happen. The first is that the developers need to see that this game can grow. They need to push an advertisement campaign that really lets the wider world know that it's alive and ready to come back into the limelight, that it needs to grow its community. And two, it needs a community that is going to be uplifting about the game. I think far too readily the community of this game is too quick to be pessimistic and downtrodden, to say, oh, this game sucks, it's unbalanced, the developers don't care, I don't like this game, they need to fix. We need to see a community that's willing to come together and build up this game. Spread the word about it, advertise it, play it, encourage change, encourage improvement. Instead of tearing down and saying the developers don't care, offer suggestions to the developers. That's what they're looking for. Look, I want to play this game and make content for it for a long time to come. I owe a great deal to this game. It built my YouTube channel. It gave me content to write stories about and inspiration to further pursue my history studies. It allowed me to meet new people and friends. It allowed me to rub shoulders with amazing people like Havoc, John DeLiner, A Break and Run, Freeze, Marco Yolo, Slanderous, and Vita Neon. This game deserves a chance to redeem itself, and if I can at all be a part of that, I want to do what I can. And now, if you've watched this far into my video, I want to say thank you so much for your dedication, and I will leave you with one final thought. Proverbs 3:27 says, "Do not withhold good from those to whom it is due when it is in your power to act." And if I have the power to help make a difference for this game and for its community, even if all I can do is make videos for it, then I will not withhold that good. And I hope that you guys won't withhold anything either. This game is too awesome, too unique, and just too fun to let it fall by the wayside. Thank y'all for watching, and I will see you next time.